As with the grip and setup, the swing we use with our approach wedges should be essentially identical to the full swing action we use with all the other clubs. If we're trying to build a completely unique wedge swing, we're making things harder for ourselves for no reason at all. There are, however, a few key points to look out for to make this action as good as it can be for our distance control and our quality of strike. As we're not using full swings, we don't need to make big turns in the backswing. So thinking about the consistency of strike again, if we can work on an action where we're staying very centered and what you might call on top of the ball during the backswing, we're going to avoid any swaying that can risk making contact with the ground behind the ball. Different players will use varying amounts of wrist hinge during the backswing and the downswing successfully. However, we can minimize how much the face is opening and closing throughout the swing so that squaring the face for impact doesn't rely so much on timing. If we hold the club out in front of us with our right hand only, an opening and closing effect would have the right hand twisting the club as it moves back and then twisting it again as it moves down. If, however, you focus on using the right wrist in a way that hinges straight backwards without any twisting at all, what you'll see is the club face stays squarer to the path of the swing. So if we look at that from down the line, a twisting action would rotate the face so that it points either ahead of us or even worse, up at the sky, whereas a correct action that keeps the face squarer to the path of the swing would see the face still pointing somewhat down as it arrives at hip height, and then to continue the motion, we simply continue the hinging of the right wrist straight backwards. When it comes to timing the release itself, we don't want an early release of the wrist angles as it leads to heavy strikes. So we need to make sure that we're using the body to turn throughout the swing, and that helps transport the arms and club down towards impact without any excessive wrist action. To do this, simply have some practice swings. Make sure that 1, the club is brushing the grass to the left of the golf ball, and 2, as you move through, even though it's a short swing, you're turning the body towards the target. And finally, we have swing lengths, which is what we're going to use to control how far the ball goes. A great goal would be to actually learn and master a couple of specific swing lengths. If you have 3 wedges and you can learn 2 different swing lengths, that would give you 6 different distances as a starting point for your wedge shots. Of course, you can then learn to practice hitting in between those distances, but you will always have your 6 basic numbers that you can rely on.